Hey there, travel nuts! Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the top cities you gotta visit in the US before you kick the bucket. From Times Square to the Golden Gate, we're serving up iconic landmarks, hidden gems, and enough food to make Guy Fieri jealous. So buckle up and get ready for the road trip of a lifetime. Welcome to New York City, the city that never sleeps. Experience the sensory overload of Times Square. It's like a giant disco ball exploded. Need a break? Escape to Central Park's tranquility. And don't miss a Broadway show. The talent is out of this world. New York City is known for its food, and for good reason. From street vendors slinging hot dogs to Michelin-starred restaurants that'll empty your wallet. Beyond the glitz, NYC has some cool hidden gems. One favorite is the High Line, an elevated park on a former railway. New York City, a whirlwind of excitement, culture, and pizza. All right, folks, now we're trading in the skyscraper on the ground. But LA is more than just the city of angels, Los Angeles. This sprawling metropolis has something for everyone, from Hollywood glamour to laid-back beach vibes. Of course, no trip to LA is complete without a stroll down the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You can walk in the footsteps of legends, dodge tourists trying to sell you selfie sticks, and maybe even catch a glimpse of a star, or at least their star on the ground. But LA is more than just movie stars and red carpets. For a taste of the California dream, head to Santa Monica Pier. Ride the Ferris wheel, stuff your face with cotton candy, and soak up the sun, sand, and Pacific Ocean breezes. And when the sun goes down, Los Angeles really comes alive. From the trendy bars of West Hollywood to the legendary music venues on the Sunset Strip, this city knows how to party. Just be sure to wear your dancing shoes, because you'll be out all night. Now, one thing I love about LA is the food scene, folks. Los Angeles, a city of from gourmet tacos to lobster rolls on wheels. And speaking of good things, you can't miss the Griffith Observatory. It's like a spaceship landed on a hilltop, offering stunning views of the city. LA might be known for its glitz and glamour, but it's also got hidden gems. One of my favorites is the Museum of Jurassic Technology. So there you have it, folks. Los Angeles, a city of contrasts. All right, folks, buckle up because we're headed to the Midwest. Navy Pier. Ferris wheel? From jazz clubs to blues bars to rooftop, looking about that pizza crust that could double as a life raft. First stop, Millennium Park. You gotta snap a selfie with the bean. It's like a giant stainless steel jelly bean, and trust me, it's way more impressive in person. Plus, you can pretend you're in a really artsy music video. Next up, Navy Pier. Ferris wheel? Check. Carousel? Check. Deep dish pizza that could feed a small village? Double check. It's basically a Midwestern amusement park on steroids. And hey, if you're feeling fancy, catch a show at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Don't worry, they have subtitles. And listen, Chicago takes its nightlife seriously. From jazz clubs to blues bars to rooftop lounges, this city knows how to party. Just make sure you pace yourself. You've got a lot of deep dish to conquer. Now let's talk hotels. Chicago's got some Monet, Picasso, you name it. It's make your arteries scream with joy. It's a must-taking home. But hey, if you're on a budget, don't worry. You can always find a comfy Airbnb with a view of that beautiful skyline. But listen up, because here's a little secret for you. Tucked away in the heart of the city is the Art Institute of Chicago. This place is packed with masterpieces. Monet, Picasso, you name it. It's the kind of place that makes you feel cultured, like you actually know what you're looking at. Speaking of art, Chicago's street art scene is off the chain. Head to neighborhoods like Wicker Park and Logan Square for some seriously cool murals. You might even catch an artist in action, adding their own splash of color to the city. So there you have it, Chicago. A city that's got it all. History, culture, food that'll make your arteries scream with joy. It's a must-see, folks. Let's hop over to the West Coast to a city so cool, lions, chow down on clam chowder, and maybe see us go. First things first, the Golden Gate Bridge. The iconic orange beauty that's been in more movies than I have. Walk it, bike it, or just stare at it in awe. Next up, Alcatraz Island, the infamous prison. Take a ferry, wander the cell blocks, and hear a ghost story. No trip is complete without visiting Fisherman's Wharf. Watch sea lions, chow down on clam chowder, and maybe see a sea otter. Now, San Francisco is known for its fancy hotels, and speaking of charming, you gotta check out the food's top bars with city skyline views, spas that'll make you feel like $1,000,000, and room service that could feed a small army. But hey, if you're looking for something a little different, a little more off the beaten path, let me introduce you to the Painted Ladies. These Victorian houses are like something out of a storybook, all colorful and charming. It's the perfect spot for a photo op. And speaking of charming, you gotta check out the food scene in San Francisco. From Michelin-starred restaurants to hole-in-the-wall taquerias, this city's got it all. And don't even get me started on the coffee. They take their coffee seriously in San Francisco, folks. So there you have it, San Francisco. A city that's got it all. Beauty, brains, and a whole lot of heart. Just pack a jacket. It gets a little chilly out there. All right, pack your swim trunks and your dancing shoes. Ocean Drive. This iconic street, get ready for sunshine, beaches, and enough nightlife to keep you going till dawn. First stop, South Beach. This is where the magic happens, people. We're talking white sand beaches, turquoise water, and more beautiful people than a modeling agency convention. Just try not to get distracted by the scenery, all right? Next up, a stroll down Ocean Drive. This iconic street is lined with Art Deco buildings in every color of the rainbow. It's like stepping back in time to the 1930s, but with better cocktails. And speaking of cocktails, Miami is a mojito lover's paradise. But don't forget to try a Cuban sandwich while you're at it. They're legendary for a reason, folks. Trust me on this one. Now, Miami's got hotels that are fancier than a flamingo, aroma of Cuban coffee in the air. Overlooking the ocean, private balconies with breathtaking views, and enough marble to make Michelangelo jealous. But hey, if you're looking for something a little more low-key, a little more authentic, head over to Little Havana. This vibrant neighborhood is like stepping into a different world, with its cigar shops, domino games, and the aroma of Cuban coffee in the air. And speaking of hidden treasures, let me introduce you to the Vizcaya Museum and Gardens. This stunning estate is like something out of a fairy tale, with its ornate architecture, lush gardens, and breathtaking views of Biscayne Bay. So there you have it, Miami. A city that's got it all: beauty, culture, and a whole lot of heart. Just don't forget your sunscreen, folks. That Florida sun is no joke. All right, folks, buckle up because we're heading to Sin City. Vegas is complete without catching a show. We're taught questionable decisions and enough all-you-can-eat buffets to feed a small country. First up, you gotta hit the Strip. It's like Times Square had a baby with a casino, and then that baby grew up and married a giant neon sign. You'll see everything from the Eiffel Tower to a giant pyramid with a laser beam shooting out of it. Don't ask me why, just go with it. And of course, no trip to Vegas is complete without catching a show. We're talking Cirque du Soleil, magic shows that'll make your head spin, and even the occasional residency by Celine Dion. Hey, you never know who you might see belting out a power ballad in this town. Just promise me you'll pace yourself. Between the gambling, the shows, and the endless flow of cocktails, Vegas can be a marathon, not a sprint. But hey, if you wake up with a tiger in your bathroom, don't blame me. Blame Mike Tyson. Now, if you can tear yourself away from the roulette wheel flush. Hey, if you're gonna go broke, only cool hidden gems. Take the Neon Museum, for example. It's like a graveyard for old neon signs, which is somehow way more interesting than it sounds. And if you're feeling spendy, check out the luxury resorts. We're talking private villas with their own swimming pools, celebrity chef restaurants, and enough marble to make Michelangelo blush. Hey, if you're gonna go broke, you might as well do it in style, right? But let's be real, the best part about Vegas is that it caters to everyone. Whether you're a high roller looking to drop some serious cash, or a budget traveler just looking for a good time, Vegas has something for you. Just remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Unless you post it on Instagram, then everyone knows about it. All right, let's switch gears and head down south to New Orleans. We're talking gumbo, jambalaya, where everyone's invited. And trust me, you don't want to miss this party. We're talking about a city with a soundtrack provided by some of the best jazz musicians on the planet. Just wander down Bourbon Street, grab a hurricane cocktail, and soak in the vibes. It's impossible not to have a good time. Of course, no trip to New Orleans is complete without diving headfirst into the food scene. We're talking gumbo, jambalaya, po' boys, beignets. Basically, if it's delicious and bad for your cholesterol, New Orleans does it right. Just be sure to pack your stretchy pants because you're going to need them, and maybe some antacids. Now, while Bourbon Street is definitely a must-see, shall we say, leisurely, but no matter, a stroll through the French Quarter, admire the architecture, and maybe even get your fortune told by a psychic. Hey, it's New Orleans. Anything can happen. And if you're looking for something a little more laid back, hop on a streetcar and head over to the Garden District. It's like stepping back in time, with beautiful mansions, lush gardens, and a pace of life that's a little more, shall we say, leisurely. But no matter where you go in New Orleans, one thing's for sure, you're gonna have a good time. It's a city that knows how to party, and they're more than happy to show you how it's done. Just be prepared to come home with a few extra pounds, a newfound appreciation for jazz music, and maybe a ghost story or two. All right, folks, pack your umbrellas and your flannel shirt without a visit to the Space Needle. It's like the Eiffel Seattle, the land of coffee, grunge music, and surprisingly good weather. Well, sometimes. First things first, you gotta visit Pike Place Market. It's one of the oldest farmers markets in the country, and it's got everything from fresh seafood to handmade crafts to guys throwing fish through the air. Seriously, it's a Seattle tradition. And of course, no trip to Seattle is complete without a visit to the Space Needle. It's like the Eiffel Tower of the Pacific Northwest. Only instead of croissants, they serve Starbucks at the top. And yes, the coffee is just as strong as the views. But Seattle's got more to offer than just tourist traps and caffeine fixes. It's a city surrounded by natural beauty, from the Puget Sound to the Olympic Mountains. So take a hike, rent a kayak, or just find a park bench and soak it all in. Now, if you're looking for something a little more off the beaten, and you might just discover the next Nirvana. It's a museum dedicated to the work of glass artist Dale Chihuly, And it's basically a giant explosion of color and light. It's like walking into a kaleidoscope, only way more impressive. And if you're a music lover, you gotta check out the city's legendary music scene. After all, this is the birthplace of grunge music. Check out a show at the Crocodile or the Showbox, and you might just discover the next Nirvana. But no matter what you do in Seattle, just be prepared for one thing: rain. It's kind of their thing. But hey, that's what umbrellas and coffee shops are for, right? So, grab a latte, throw on your raincoat, and get ready to explore the Emerald City. Just don't be surprised if you find yourself wanting to move there. All right, let's talk Boston. This city's got history oozing out of its cobblestone streets. Walk the Freedom Trail. It's a greatest hits of the American Revolution. See Paul Revere's house and Faneuil Hall. Don't miss Fenway Park, a cathedral for baseball fans. Grab some clam chowder or a lobster roll and wash it down with a pint of Sam Adams. Check out the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Solved art heists. What more could you ask for? Plus, it had a famous unsolved art heist. In 1990, thieves stole 13 works of art worth over $500 million. They still haven't found the paintings. Boston is also home to Harvard University, the school that Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of to invent Facebook. Boston's got it all: history, culture, and unsolved art heists. What more could you ask for? Howdy, folks. Let's mosey on down to Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. They got more music venues per capita than anywhere else in the US of A. First stop, you gotta hit up 6th Street. This place is a honky-tonk heaven, with bars and clubs pumping out tunes all night long. And keep your ears peeled for up-and-coming artists. Now, one thing you'll notice about Austin is that it's a little bit. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's awesome weirdness. And that's what makes it so darn. And trust me, they take it seriously. Where else are you gonna find a cathedral made entirely out of junk? That's right, folks. The Cathedral of Junk is a must-see for any visitor to Austin. It's exactly what it sounds like. A giant cathedral made out of old tires, bicycles, toilets, you name it. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's Austin. And when it comes to places to stay, Austin's got you covered. From swanky hotels downtown to quirky Airbnbs in South Congress, there's something for everyone. Just be sure to book in advance, because this city fills up faster than a honky-tonk on a Saturday night. So there you have it, folks. Austin, Texas. A city with a whole lot of heart, a whole lot of soul, and a whole lot of weirdness. And that's what makes it so darn lovable. Well, folks, that's a wrap on our whirlwind touration. See you in the next adventure. From the bright lights of New York City to the funky streets of Austin, we've covered it all. I hope this video has inspired you to pack your bags and hit the road. And hey, if you've got any suggestions for other amazing cities we should feature, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more travel inspiration. See you in the next adventure.